All right, we ready to do this thing? Excellent. Welcome to FenceTech. I always ask this question before I get started. How many of y'all are here at FenceTech for the very first time? Never been to FenceTech before? Holy mackerel. Second question, and then we'll get right into it. How many here have never heard me speak at any event? Okay, so about half the room, a little bit more than half the room. All right, that's exciting. That's cool. All right, man, well, let's do this thing. Congratulations, by the way, for you first-time folks coming to FenceTech. Great move. I hope you have a great week. There's nothing like it. And so welcome, happy to have you. So we're gonna talk about today, is the volume okay? Okay, all right, good, thank you. We're going to talk about the digital success blueprint. Very excited to do this. It is full of all brand new information. Those of you that have heard me speak in the past, there's a whole lot of new stuff going on here. But before we get into that, I want to give you a brief introduction about who I am, because who's talking to you, it matters, right? So at a high level, I run the largest website design and digital marketing agency that serves the fence industry. We create websites, SEO, all the Google ranking stuff, digital marketing, paid ads, expert content, strategy, everything that you need digitally for fence companies. That's all we do. We are 100% focused on the fence industry. There are 43 of us, if you can imagine, 43 professional digital marketer, web designer people on my team. Again, 100% fully focused on the fence industry. We got a whole bunch of .comers, give a little wave. Woohoo! So we have a bunch of our team members here as well. You might be able to match their characters with their faces here. That's kind of a fun game we can play. So who do we work with? We work with most of the top influencers in the industry, the top individual leaders, and the top companies. So you guys might recognize some of the folks that are up on this screen: Sean King, Mr. Fence, Mark Olson, Successful Contractor, Joe Everest. These are folks that if you're on social media and you follow anything online, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, you surely recognize these folks. I'm happy to say these are friends and clients of ours. We work with over 150 fence contractors, website and full digital marketing campaigns, 100+ manufacturers, related companies like My Salesman, Expert Stain and Seal, all kinds of companies that touch the fence industry but maybe aren't in fence directly themselves. So I want to just give you a background that the things I'm going to be talking to you guys about today, this is not theoretical, this is not textbook, this works for roofers, we don't know if it works for fencers. This is information that is specifically for fencers with an incredible amount of background behind it, and that's what's relevant here. I'm also a top speaker and trainer in the fence industry. I speak in every major program, Mr. Fence Academy, Tony Thornton's stuff, AFA, FWA, everything. Every event nationally I speak at. I'm a trainer and a speaker. So, all right, so now that you have some background, I want to let you all know that notes are available. I would strongly prefer if you guys are focused, because I'm going to talk fast. There's a lot of information that's going to be coming at you. So I don't want people, head down, typing stuff in a phone or taking notes and then you miss something. So scan that QR code, fill out a super quick form. I'm not going to spam you. This is notes and notes only. That's all we're doing here, all right? So that way you can be fully present and you won't miss anything. If by chance you're a little bit slow getting your phone out, I will have this QR code coming back in later in the presentation and at the end, so don't worry about that. Now, anytime you come to an event like this, it is like drinking from a fire hose. There is a ton of information that's going to be coming at you. A lot of it's going to be coming from me. You're going to have other talks. You got a whole long week. Guys, I want to encourage you that not everything that comes out of my mouth or anybody else's mouth is for you. We're all at different stages of business. Some of us have young businesses. Some of us been doing this for 20, 30 years. Some of us are struggling to make our first million in gross revenue. Other folks are making 10, 20, 30, 40 million a year in gross revenue or higher. There's all kinds of different stages and phases, and we all need different things. So grab what belongs to you, let the rest of it go. All right, just don't try to grab something that's not ready for you. Focus on one thing, don't get overwhelmed, and make that happen. And one more item here is that as I'm talking to you about these things, and I really want to encourage you guys, this is for you to know so that you can manage, but it's not necessarily for you to do. All right, you guys have fence companies to run. Your owners, your operations managers, whatever your role is at your company, you are busy doing that. That's where you're gonna be your most effective. If you are your company's web designer, I'm gonna suggest that you fire your web designer. All right, you have a job to do. Let the pros do what they do. You be a pro at what you do. All right, however, I commend you guys for being in the room because you can't manage what you don't understand. The other side of that coin is that I see a lot of fence owners will say, man, I don't know this, that's why I hired this guy, right? We pay him money, we let him do it. That is not a path to success. Right? If you hired a crew chief or a foreman or an installer and you're like, I know this guy knows what he's doing, I'm just gonna pay him, I'm gonna leave him alone. How many of y'all know that's not gonna go so well after a while, right? It's no different digital. Just because the geek knows more than you do does not mean they're doing a good job. You have to know enough to be able to manage people. So that's why we're here. That's what this is about. All right. And the last kind of little disclaimer here is I want to explain the it depends rule. All right. Now catch this, please, because before I was a marketer, I used to be an actual human being. And you could ask me a simple question and you would get a simple answer. But that's not how we work as marketers, right? But it's true. It really depends on a lot of different things. If you're asking somebody for advice, how much money should I spend on marketing? You know, how much should my website cost? What should I be doing? How often should I be posting on social media? If anybody gives you a straight out answer, ignore it, because the only answer is it depends. It depends on your situation. It depends on where you guys are in your journey, what your revenue is, how many crews you have, what your current situation. Are you already ranking pretty well, or do you totally suck and you're getting your butt kicked? It depends. Where do you do fencing? Are you doing in South Florida and Naples? Are you north of the border in Canada or somewhere else in between? It depends. If you ever ask advice about marketing website stuff and you get a straight answer, those people do not know what they're talking about. It depends. Which leads me really quickly to the Facebook makes you dumber rule. All right, we see a lot of these kinds of questions out there, you know, and then you'll see some really crazy advice. So again, I know we got a lot of new fencers. I'm talking to the new fencers here, the guys that are trying to figure out this business and how to run this business. And you get a lot of just absolute insane advice on Facebook. I can't stand it. The only answer is it depends. All right, now I'm gonna try to do a little better than that here, right? But well, you know, otherwise this talk's over. All right, it depends. Great, see you guys, take care. Now, I'm not hating on Facebook. There are some great Facebook groups out there. The Fence Professionals Network happens to be one of them. I'm very proud that Tony Thornton, those of you, who knows Tony Thornton in this room? All right. Tony Thornton's a great guy. Was the executive director of the AFA. Tony Thornton and .com co-own this Fence Professionals Network Facebook group. It's a great Facebook group, and there's a lot of great information in there. If you don't currently belong to some of those online Facebook groups in the fence industry, I definitely suggest that you go out there, find them. There's a lot of good info, but be careful about asking for marketing advice because it's bad. Whew. All right, now, the difference between a blueprint, which is what we're doing today, and a strategy, which is not what we are doing, is that a blueprint is a general guideline of roughly what works based on what people have seen. But it's not a strategy, it's not your strategy. It's not for you to execute exactly because it depends on your situation. So I'm gonna give you the blueprint, but it's not your strategy. Are we clear on that? All right, please don't just go out and say, well, Sam said to do this, right? No, I'm saying it might look something like this. All right, let's do this thing now. Whew. Digital success blueprint. Sales is the lifeblood of any business, right? If you have great sales, you are healthy. If you don't have great sales, your business is not very healthy, right? The lack of predictability and stability in sales is by far the number one problem that we see when fence companies come to us and say, hey, we want a website, we want to rank on Google, right? And you get down and what is it? The problem is we don't have enough sales. That's always the problem, right? So sometimes it may feel like labor's my biggest problem. I'm in a competitive market, my overhead's too high, whatever, we have inefficient operations. These are all problems, I get it. They're all problems, but all of those problems can be fixed by strong sales, because when you have enough money, you can fix any problem. So ultimately, if you are stuck, if you're sitting here and you're feeling like, man, I'm having trouble, sales is where you need to focus. You get enough money, you can fix any problem. Now, there's a little bit of balance there. We all know if we take in too much new work and we can't fulfill that work, we have problems. So I'm recognizing that. All right, now, sales come from leads. Leads comes from marketing. So if sales is your biggest problem, marketing is going to be the solution to your biggest problem. All right. Let's start with one of the most fundamental questions. How much should I spend on marketing? This is the question that I hear all the time. How much should I spend? And the answer is, it depends. Look at this. We're already nailing it. It depends. All right, but I could give you some guidelines. I could give you a framework, a blueprint. All right, new and small businesses, again, fence companies, that are their total gross revenue under $1.25 million. I'm gonna geek out on some numbers for the next 5 minutes, all right? So get in there, dig in with me on the numbers. It's only gonna be 5 minutes and then we'll get out of the numbers. I forgot to give you the warning, the number geek warning. All right. If you're a small new company, under $1.25 million in annual sales, this is generally true. Generally, if you're trying to just kind of maintain, you're like, you know, we're not very big, but I'm kind of happy where we are, then generally those companies spend about 10% of their gross sales on maintenance towards marketing. Now we'll talk about that because be like, well, if I'm already there, why am I spending 10%? We'll get there. But for smaller companies that want to grow, up to 20% of your annual gross revenue can go towards marketing. That's a pretty high number. Most small new companies kind of choke on that number, but that's what we see nationally. That's what we see that you need to do to be successful. We'll break that down a little bit more, but that's generally true. Now, once you cross the threshold, I'm not saying it's exactly at $1.25 million. It might be at $1 million. It might be at 800,000. It might be $1.5 million. But somewhere in there is where you turn a corner. Somewhere in there is where your company has to now go to 2 crews or add services. We were just doing fencing. Now we do deck stocks and pergolas or something like that. So in order to get across that hurdle, that happens somewhere in that $1.25 million range. Once you are $1.5 million to $7 million, that's a pretty big number, pretty big range. But for companies in that range, generally you can see that the percentage of your gross goes down. This is what we see nationally. Successful. I could give you all kinds of companies that spend 0%, 1%, 2%, but they're not successful. I'm giving you the model, the blueprint for successful companies that we see, right? So you can see it's a little bit different there. And then finally, businesses that gross over 7 million, man, it really depends. I can't even give you a range because that is all over the board, right? So this is the general blueprint. And again, this is going to be in the notes that I'm giving you guys, so you don't have to write this down, you don't have to remember it. But let's dig in and take a look at what this looks like, all right? I'm going to take a fence company that's right at $1.5 million gross sales, gross revenue every year, and let's break this down. Let's say they're in a growth mindset. All right, they want to grow. So generally speaking, what you're going to see is that roughly half of that budget is going to go to more traditional marketing items. Things like signage and truck wraps and business cards and t-shirts and all those kinds of things. Old school door hangers. I don't know if you guys do that when you install a fence and then you put door hangers on a couple of the homes around that area, right? It's a good tactic, especially anyway, I can't get into that. Boy, please don't let me get off track. We'll never get finished. All right. Business groups and gifts and promotional, all kinds of stuff. But that bottom one I wanted to stop and talk about just a little bit. If you made a decision that you're gonna pay higher rent, higher lease because you're gonna put your business on a more major road that gets a lot more traffic, you could have taken a lower rent payment somewhere else, right? But you chose to pay the higher rent so you could get more drive-by traffic. It is absolutely fair to consider part of that lease payment as a marketing budget. 100% fair to consider part of that. If you buy some beautiful new truck or trailer trailer or something that you maybe don't necessarily need, but you're gonna buy this thing, you're gonna wrap it, you're gonna be paying for it, and so you're leasing this thing, and you park it out on the road when you're not doing, work at night or whatever over the weekends. It's totally reasonable that you could count some of that payment as part of a marketing budget. This is why small new companies, when they're actually doing their calculations, can get to 10% or 20% of their budget on marketing, because it also kind of covers some of these other things. Does that make sense? So that's about half. We're looking at roughly $1.5 million fence company, gross revenue, that's in a growth phase and they want to grow. Generally speaking, about half their budget is going to go to this stuff, basically. Blueprint, not exactly, but roughly. The other half now, special thanks, I almost forgot. We love, I don't know how many of you guys know Sean King, Mr. Fence Academy, Tony Thornton, the Fence Consulting Group. This information comes through and was run by them. These guys do great coaching and teaching on these types of topics. And so I wanted to verify our information. The things that we see are the same types of things that they teach. So a little special thanks for them to confirm our information. Now, the other half goes to digital. This is what we're seeing these days, right? So websites, again, Blueprint. If you are $1.5 million company that's looking to grow, meaning you need to do better than you've done before, that cheap little crap website that you paid the local dude $1,500 for and it sucked is no longer good. Generally speaking, you might find that you might be in the neighborhood of $5,000-ish. That's roughly what you would expect to spend to get a website of that quality. At .com, we don't charge like this. I'm just telling you generally. We don't separate website from marketing and all that. We wrap it all up in one package. But I'm just saying, if you went out to shop for it, that's basically what you would reasonably expect to spend. SEO work, I want to rank better on Google, right? Generally speaking, if you are not spending, hear me please, if you are not spending $1,500 a month on SEO, if you have some package where you're like, oh man, we spend $300 a month, $500 a month, you are wasting $300 a month. You are wasting $500 a month. SEO is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of time to do it right. It costs money. Sometimes people have said, I've heard it a lot of times, like, I know it's a low budget, but something's better than nothing. No, not in this case. Something is not better than nothing. Hear me on this. Check your results. If you're not sure, people do this all the time. You will not bother me. Send me your stuff. I'm not trying, you don't have to hire us, man. Send us your stuff. We'll take a look. I could tell you, this is working. Here's how we can tell. This is not working. Here's how we can tell. Keep your $300 or your $500 in your pocket. It is damn near a scam. It doesn't work. All right, please save your money. So generally speaking, $1.5 million fence company, want to grow. If you're not spending at least $1,500 a month in SEO, you're probably not getting results. All right, paid ads. This is another thing. You don't have to do paid ads. You certainly don't. But if you want to grow, you might want to consider doing some paid ads. Google paid ads, Meta, Google Local Services. There's all kinds of different paid ads. Again, what we're seeing nationally, kind of across the country, it's a little bit different. In Dallas, in Tampa, there's more competitive markets. You might have to spend more. Less competitive markets, a little bit less, right? But generally speaking, we see folks that are spending roughly $2,000 a month on paid ads that are in this situation. So you can compare this to either what you're currently doing, or if you're budgeting and trying to grow your business, these are good numbers to use as a guideline moving forward, right? So photos and videos. This is a surprise to a lot of folks. It's like, hey, man, I never paid a professional photographer or a professional videographer before. No, but now you're trying to grow beyond $1.5 million. You have a new set of realities, and you need higher quality stuff. If you happen to have somebody on staff who has a great camera and they've got a great eye for photos and videos, and you're so blessed that somebody in your orbit can do it, then by all means, please use those people. That's great, right? But not all of us have that. And generally speaking, if you're going to do a good job and you're doing more with your website, you're doing more with maybe a blog, maybe your paid ads, more with social media. If you're doing more with all that stuff, you need more high quality content. And now all of a sudden there may be an appropriate budget needs to be set aside to get some professional photos and videos. All right, so that's a thing that goes on there. And then social media, man, it really, really depends on this. Not everybody should do it, right? If you have a knack for social media, if you like it, if you understand it, if you have somebody on your team that can do it, then you should do it. If you're a little bit more old school and you're like, man, I don't really get it, I don't really like it, I've had the people in the office kind of try, it never went anywhere, right? Maybe it's not for you at this stage. You can be successful without social media. You could also be very successful with social media, but it kind of more depends on where you are and the talent and the skills in your room that you have. All right. Little secret here, if you have dedicate a part-time staff member at this stage, again, you're trying to grow, $1.5 million fence company, it's very common at this stage to take somebody, maybe somebody who is already answering the phones, maybe you hire a new person, I don't know, but somebody who has some responsibility for being the lead to get some of this stuff done. The eyes and ears of a partner. If you are using an outside agency to do a lot of this work, it's really good to have somebody be a point of contact who's not you. You as a business owner will get too busy, right? There are just whole big blocks of the year that you're just not responsive enough is what we have seen. That's the norm of what we have seen. And then things can lag. So sometimes you get somebody in your office, somebody they're making $16, $20 an hour. They're also answering phones. Maybe they're doing some paperwork, whatever it is. And there's some hours dedicated to the side to be that liaison. That is a path to success. All right. This, again, is one blueprint that might basically fit for your scenario. There are big parts of this that might not fit at all. Now, this is a huge topic, and we spent like 15 minutes, 20 minutes on, I'm not sure. So there's a lot more to go. We do have a great YouTube channel where there's more information. Check it, to come contact us, find us, we'll get my card, whatever it is. We have a lot of great educational material about this, but this hopefully can open your eyes, and I hope that this was helpful to some people in the room. Now, let's switch gears. Let's take a macro view, a high-level view of what a digital campaign, a whole digital campaign might look like. Meet my man, Garrett. Garrett, stand up. Garrett, give him a wave. All right, Garrett. So he would be a great person to talk to, any of our .com team members, but Garrett would be a great person to talk to about the following information here. So look, we got people who want to fence. You've got a website and a fence company. We wish it was that easy, right? Hey, I need a fence. You do fence. Let's do fence. We know it's not that easy. We know people they go on Google and Bing and YouTube and all these different places, but mostly Google, and they go and they're looking for a fence company, right? So we know those things exist. Because those things exist, you can advertise on those things. Because Google exists, there are Google ads. Because Bing exists, there are Bing ads, right? All these. So this is a thing. This is part of a campaign, is that we have to pay attention to the search, but there are also ads that go along with that, right? There's social media. We know this. Because Facebook is a thing, guess what? There are Facebook ads, right? If it's a thing, there is also an ad campaign that could go along with it. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying it is an option, right? Now, there's other types of search, and there are people in this room that don't know this. So the folks that are here, bear with me. There's some new stuff, I promise, but this may be a little basic for a few, but it's new to some. There's a different type of search. It's called local search. It's map search, Google Map Pack. There's a lot of different names for it, but it's different. And it's a thing. And because it's different and it's a thing, guess what? There are ads that can target that thing as well. Those are called local service ads. So local service ads specifically target the local search, right? Google pay-per-click ads specifically target the regular Google search. They're two different things. There's service directories, Yelp and Angie's List and Houzz and Nextdoor, all things you guys, and more than that, a lot more than that. And because these are things, there are ad programs there that may be appropriate for you guys. This is the whole digital campaign that's possible. As we go on more and more, now you get things like TikTok and X, like, some fence companies have gone that far and they're doing that. That's more. There's blogs, there's podcasts, there's a lot of stuff. Now we start plugging stuff in. Look how complicated it's starting to get, right? I understand it. There's so many things, right? And so because we want to do better, now we start plugging stuff into our website. We might use tools like My Salesman and ArcSite. ArcSite, give me a ArcSite in the back. All right, My Salesman, ArcSite, Job, Nimbus, Fence Cloud. There's some great programs out there, right, that you can be plugged into your site or can be plugged into your or plugged into your business to help you work more efficiently, right? Those are things. Now, here's where things again start to change because, and I know there's a lot of fence companies that don't think this way, but because there's so much going on, can we agree there's a lot going on here? There's a lot, there's so much. And because there's so much, now your asset library, which you don't have, because I talk to hundreds of fence companies every year, your asset library, which you probably don't have, starts to be a problem. We don't have a lot of great photos. We don't have videos. We don't have a lot of expert written content. We don't have this stuff. How the hell do you use this stuff and get it out there and make all these things better if you don't have the stuff to throw at it? Right? You need photos, you need videos, you need expert written content, there's graphics, there's animations, there's so many things that you could have, but you probably don't because you're a fence company, you're not a content producer, right? But in order to succeed, that kind of stuff would be really, really helpful. All right, so that's a thing. And then as we go on, voice search has become really big now. Alexa and Siri and Google Home, and there's so much. And on your phone, when you talk into your phone, do y'all know that when you talk into your phone, that triggers a different search algorithm than if you typed into your phone? Still a phone, but it's a different search algorithm because you spoke it instead of typed it. It's different, right? And now, God help us, there's AI and all these AI assistants that are out there, and those things are getting a lot of traffic fast. I have a feeling that if we stand here in this room next year, well, we won't be in this room next year, we'll be where? Indianapolis? We'll be in Indianapolis next year at FenceTech, but if we're in a room together next year, you're gonna be hearing some crazy stuff that happened over this last year. So ignore AI and AI search at your own peril because it's coming and it's already here and it's coming fast and it's gonna make an impact. All right, so it's a lot of stuff. So let's break this down a little bit. We use a lot of terms. So SEO, traditional search, it's right there. SEO, search engine optimization, specifically deals with what you're looking at up there. Traditional Google, YouTube, Bing. If you hear that, that's what's going on. SEO specifically handles that stuff to get better ranking for that stuff. Local search is different. This is LSO, local search optimization. I'm about to alphabet soup you to death right now. All right, local search optimization. That's different, right? Different results, different directories is different. Voice search, God help us, is a little bit different. So this is where things get a little confusing. Local search and voice search have massive overlap, but they're not exactly the same. So if you guys, I don't know who you are, but if anybody in this room is paying specifically for voice search, somebody has sold you that you need to pay extra to be listed for voice search, they may be scamming you. And I say may because I need to see the specifics because it depends. But I'm not even gonna ask anybody to put a hand up. But if you are, come talk to us. We can go run some tests and see if you're getting scammed because it sounds great. Like I wanna be listed on voice search and it's not good. All right, and last one here, this may be a new term for a lot of you guys, is that AI search is a real thing, right? You can do things to promote yourself better for AI to find you better. And there's other things called SGE and all kinds of crazy stuff way outside the scope of this. If you care about it, for all the geeks in the room that really are forward thinking and you want to know all about AI and SGE and rich results, rich search results and all that really extra geeky stuff, contact us. Follow .com on our YouTube channel. We have incredible, great information that's already here and more that's coming out. But this is different. This is generative engine optimization, more alphabet soup. All right, these are different things. So let's talk about this real quick. SEO, or is that SEO? See, we said this was local, LSO, local search optimization, but some SEO programs include both. Some SEO programs include all three of those, and very, very few SEO programs will include all four. So it's hard to say. If you are paying for SEO, what are you getting? I have no idea, because SEO can be applied in a lot of different ways. So how much should you be spending on all this? Well, if you're getting SEO for all of that, or they claim that you're getting it for all of that, and you're spending less than $2,500 a month, ain't no way. Not a chance. Is too much. There's too much work, too much to do. So if you care about all that stuff and you want to rank well, it is absolutely for sure at least that much. I don't care who you are. We've shopped it. We've shopped all the competitors and all the agencies, and we know what it takes. And so sometimes people will say, we pay $1,000 a month, and we get it includes voice search, it includes AI, and I'm like, baloney, it does. Not a chance. All right. Now, all this stuff, Google ads, local service ads, Facebook ads, all the ad stuff comes under paid ad management. This is different, right? The SEO stuff, the search engine optimization, all that stuff, that's one thing. Managing your paid ads, that's a totally different thing. We said earlier in this, generally, you could expect to pay around $2,000 a month to be reasonably competitive in your market. Right? But you might, if you're a bigger company, you have multiple crews, if you need to keep 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 crews busy, you're going to be spending more on paid ads. You need more leads. It's a higher volume. It's going to go up. If you're spread out, if you have a really wide area that you want to target, your ad budget may have to be higher because it's just spread out. It's just the nature of what happens. So your things, it's a little bit different. So monthly management fees, $2,000 a month plus whatever the monthly management fees are, and they can vary quite a bit. So your local service ads look like this. Right? That's generally what they look like. What we are seeing nationally is that most companies are spending somewhere between $500 to $1,000 a month if they're doing local service ads. This is where that whole Google Guaranteed thing, how many people know about Google Guaranteed? About a third of the room. Google Guaranteed is awesome, guys. If you are a fence company and you are running paid ads, you definitely want to explore the possibility of local service ads being part of your campaign here. What we are seeing is generally it tends to cost about $60 to $80 per lead. Oof, that's a little pricey, right? But what do we call a lead? Leads are pretty strict. At .com, we believe a lead is, again, we're talking about digital, is a fully filled out web form, every question filled out appropriately and in detail, or a phone call that lasts at least a minute, that you actually got a chance to get into a conversation. That's a legit lead, right? So using that bar, we are seeing nationally that it costs roughly about $60 to $80 per lead. That's not a rule, that's just what we see around the country, all right? If you're using local service ads and you've never heard the following information, be concerned. One of the great things about local service ads is that you can teach the system. If a lead comes in, you can rate every single, you should rate every single lead. This was a good lead, this was a bad lead, right? And you can do that. You can explain why this was a good lead and why it's a bad lead, and the system will learn and will start giving you more good leads and less bad leads. And by the way, if you rate it as a bad lead and you follow their rules, which you should be trained on, you will get a refund. You won't even pay for it. It costs you money, whatever it was, a click, and it's not cheap. We see it up there, it's not cheap, but you'll get a refund on your money. So you absolutely want to rate these leads. If you are running Google local service ads and you are unaware that you can rate your leads and that you need to rate your leads and that you're entitled to a refund, fire those idiots that are doing that campaign for you because they're killing you. Right? I see it too much. It's a shame. Don't do it. Like you got to do this. It's too expensive. If you want to know more about this, Garrett, wave your hand again. Talk to Garrett. He's awesome. All right. Google paid ads, pay per click ads, are different than Google local service ads. They both say Google, but they're very different. What we're seeing nationally is that somewhere between $1,500 to $3,000 a month in a range. It's a range, of course, because everybody's situation is different. It depends, right? Cost per click, nationally, we see somewhere between $6 and $12 per click. If you happen to be somebody that runs Google pay-per-click ads and you have numbers, there's some of us that are very analytical in here, and if you see numbers that are too far away from this should raise some alarm bells. All right, come talk to us. We could take a look at what's going on. But this is what we see normally, right? Conversion rates. This is a big one, guys. So conversion rates, this is click, this is not lead, right? We're talking about clicks. So when you're paying $6 to $12 per click, your conversion rate really matters, right? So how much are you converting these leads into actual sales? It makes a big difference between positive ROI and taking a loss. So conversion rates can range drastically between 8% and 20%. The biggest indicator of the conversion rates are two things. One, how fast do you get back to that lead, right? If you get back to these guys quickly, that improves your chances of converting. So your speed of response is critical. The other thing is the quality of your website. If your website sucks and you paid for that click and they go there and they're like, the photos suck and there's no information, and then your conversion rate obviously is going to be low. So if you are considering spending money on paid ads, you should first consider spending money on your website and bring that level up so that your conversion rates will be higher. Does that make sense? Like, why am I going to drive them to a site that sucks? Right? It doesn't make sense. Yes, sir.
Can you clarify what that percentage is?
So the percentage is the conversion rate is, and again, we're being very general. So the thing I'm about to say is as wrong as it is right. All right, is that is from the 8% to 20% of the people that click the link will convert to a lead, not a sale. Right? And so now we have to convert the leads from leads to sales. But only 8 to 20% of the clicks will turn into a lead. And for us, a lead is a fully filled out web form or a phone call that lasts at least 60 seconds. Does that help? Yep. All right. Again, you want to know more about this? Talk to Garrett. Wave again. Hi, Garrett. Now, what about these? There's Facebook ads, Bing ads, Meta ads that are like the big parent of the Facebook ads, so whatever. And Yelp ads and all kinds of different stuff. Talk to Garrett. All right, there's too much here to do it again. Garrett, just turn your chair around and all right. Remember, everything that we're talking about here, guys, is a blueprint, not a strategy. This is not your strategy. It's a general blueprint of roughly what is true. So, if you ask questions, if you find yourself thinking, how much should I spend on whatever? What's the best way for me to do whatever? The answer is, it depends. All right. Talk to a pro and get a real strategy. All right. Again, don't forget, all this and more are notes that are available. I'll give you this QR code again one more time. Now, I want to remind you, and before we go to the next one, I talked about drinking from a fire hose. I just gave you a lot of stuff. I don't expect you to remember all of it. That's why we have notes, right? But I want you to hear it. I want you to process. All we're trying to do is just get the brain thinking right about all this stuff. The details you could get in the notes. Don't worry about it. All right, now let's talk about your website blueprint. How much time do I have? Oh, man, I am dead on time. That is awesome. All right, homepage of your website. Your homepage is your trust page. The biggest mistake that we see, and if there are any traditional marketers in this room right now, you are about to, I'm going to hurt you right now by saying what I'm about to say, right? You are not looking for strong conversions and strong calls to action on your homepage. I don't even know you yet. Buy my stuff. Get a free estimate right now. Apply for financing. Bro, I don't even know you yet. Like, you're asking the wrong, that's like me walking into a bar and picking a pretty girl and say, hey, my name is Sam. You want to marry me? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great offer, right? It's a great offer. but the timing's not quite right. We might want to get to know each other a little bit first, then we'll do that, right? This is the same thing. It's crazy to me what I see. People go, I don't know you yet. I Googled you, man. Show me a fence company near me. Bam, here's ABC Fence. I go to ABC Fence, it's like, buy my stuff, get financing, like right there. It's out of order. Your homepage is a trust page, establish trust. That's what you can sell. Look, sell wood fence on wood fence page. Sell your pool fence on your pool fence page if you have one, right? Sell residential fence on your residential fence page. But the homepage, you're selling yourself. You're selling, we've got a great warranty. We've been in business for 35 years. We're fully certified, insured, and all those kinds of things, right? You're selling yourself on your homepage. I'm not saying make no call to action, of course. You put a phone number. Hey, you want to contact us? Contact us. You want to learn more? You want to get use my salesman and get your own free quote online? Those kinds of things. But the buy my stuff offer is too early on the homepage. Yes, sir.
So if you click on my website, after about 5 seconds, contact me form pulls up automatically. Is that too quick?
So, man, that's a great question. So I believe 5 seconds is too quick. There is what they call exit. Did you guys hear that? That he said when you, let me repeat that. That when someone goes to his website, that after about 5 seconds, a pop-up comes up to do what? To contact you or fill out a form? All right. So it's not a terrible thing, but there's what we call exit intent. So there are actions that people take when they're intending to exit your page. They go up to hit the back button or they go up to close it out. Exit intent pop-ups are awesome. They were already on their way out the door, right? So now you're like, hey, before you go, make sure to fill out this contact form kind of thing. I personally don't love, and I think we have data to support it, that I'm in the flow. I'm here, I'm starting to read something, and you just interrupted me, right? So I'm not a fan of the 5 second thing. I think it's too quick.
It makes sense to me, but that's
Yeah.
what the web developer came up with.
Idiot, fire him. All right. So your home page is your trust page. Your keyword target, for those of you that are geeking out and that you care about this stuff, is a fence company in whatever town. I'm in Naples, Florida, fence company, Naples, Florida, right? Stated very simply, very clearly. I know because I talked to literally, I think last year was over 700 fence companies that we talked to, that we evaluated their website directly. It's a lot, right? And I know that over half of you in this room, if you're like the folks that we've talked to, half of you at least, if you go to your homepage, you are going to be horrified that you cannot find the very simple statement, we are a fence company in whatever your town is, or a fence contractor in whatever your town is. Test me on it. Go back and look. It's unbelievable. It's like, I don't know how you miss it, but you miss it. And if you're not saying it, Google doesn't know it, right? So it's a big deal, right? So that's my idiot web designer warning, is that somehow we miss the just really basic stuff here. Now, one more thing on your homepage, and now this is different stuff, so we can't get too deep in it. The page has to be optimized for user interaction. Do you know that Google can track how much you scroll on a page? Just scroll. Google's tracking it. Are you clicking anything? How much time are you spending on the page? This is all stuff that Google can track. Google, this is called user interactions. Google is tracking the user interactions on your page to make a determination about how high a quality of the website is and how did it meet their needs. If you are not giving people all kinds of opportunities to scroll and to click and open things up and zoom in things and swipe before and after, if you're not even giving them that opportunity, how could they do it? They can't do it. Look at your homepage and see how much opportunity is there for people to read. I see all kinds of craziness where you get a homepage here where it's like basic information. The web page is like this long. They couldn't scroll if they wanted to. They could barely click on anything except for navigation. Go check out our wood fence page. Learn more about our company. That's up in the navigation, but they can't spend any time on the homepage. The homepage is your most important page. You need to keep people there and give them interesting information. Give them an opportunity to click. Look at your website, see if that's true. If people are jumping off that homepage too quickly, Google is going to look at those user actions and interactions and say, that page sucks. I'm not going to rank these people. Make sense? All right. Now, really geeking out is this data schema markup that Google is using. Google in November, actually, Google in May of last year made an announcement that later this year, later last year, which happened in November, that the biggest update ever, the biggest change ever in search algorithms was about to happen. Well, it happened in November. All right, so again, if you guys, I don't know the kind of conversations you have, if you're doing with, if you use WebGuy, if you pay for SEO, any of that kind of stuff, if you have not had the conversation with your web person that the biggest change ever to your search algorithm, as told by Google, just happened, and we have some pretty major stuff to do to your website to make sure we're capturing that. If you have not had that conversation, you need to fire that idiot. All right, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. All right, so we can't get into that. Garrett, you can talk to them about that stuff too. All right, now, if you want to rank for a thing, you have to have a page for that thing. Oh, man, we are awesome. And the page can't suck. So let's go into this a little bit. If you want to rank for aluminum fence, chain link fence, wood fence, vinyl fence, you need a page for it. Probably a lot of you guys have it. Think about your website, go to your website. If you want to rank for a thing, you have to have a page for that thing. And it can't suck. It has to be pretty good. So if you have a wood fence page, take a look at the wood fence page, and it should have some legitimate good information on there. It should talk about the benefits of wood fence and the features of wood fence, the options. You can pressure treated pine, or with us, you could also upgrade to cedar and whatever. Here's the different styles. Here's FAQs that people often ask about wood fence. And here's related blog article. There's so much stuff, so much information that you could put on a page. But if you guys are like most of the fence companies that we talk to, it's not on there. It's basic. A little intro, a couple of photos, contact us for more information. There's no chance for people really to scroll. There's not hardly any information for them to interact with. And so again, Google's going to be like, well, people are kind of bouncing in and off of this page. They're not staying very long. This page must suck. We're not going to rank it. All right, so you need good quality information. If you want to rank, this one hurts me. Please, this is one. This challenge yourself. I am guessing most of you, how many people do not do residential fence? Only commercial. All right, so we got a couple. Awesome, so there's a few guys. The rest of you, I bet that if somebody did a search for residential fence company near me, that you would probably want to rank for that. And if you want to rank for a thing, you have to have a page about that thing. Go back to your website and see, do you have a page on your site for residential fence? And for way more than half of you, the answer is no. You might have a page for aluminum, you might have a page for wood, but I'm telling you, better than half of you do not have a page that's for residential fence. How can you rank for it if you don't have a page for it, you don't have the content for it, you're not going to. Your local competitors are going to tear you up because somebody in your area has a residential fence page, I promise you. All right? Or commercial or farm. What about these? Perimeter fence, privacy fence. Do you have, the answer for 90% of you is no. Do you have a page on your site for privacy fence? Most of you don't, but wouldn't you want to rank for it if somebody's searching for it? If you want to rank for a thing, you have to have a page for a thing, and a page can't suck. We could do this all day. Pool fence. I live down in Naples, Florida, right? Pools are a big deal down in Naples, Florida. Down in Naples, Florida, there is one fence company in all of the county that has a pool fence page. That's insane to me. Everybody has a pool in Naples. It's crazy. So, but you know, we're messing up. Pet fence, trash enclosures for those of you guys that do that, garden fence, whatever. Picket fence, rail fence, solid fence, horse fence, cat. Man, if you want to rank for all this, sheep fence, livestock fence, pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, right? If you want to rank for, there's a lot of different pages that you guys could have, and you should have them if you want to rank for it, and it can't suck. Now, let's switch gears just a little bit. These are all different words, all different names for basically the same thing, but we all know it's not really basically the same thing, because I'm only a web guy, but I know aluminum is not iron, and is not, sure as hell isn't steel. I know that, you know that, but the public generally uses this a little bit more casually, let's say, than we do, right? So these are all different ways that the public might search. Now, depending on your regional differences, some regions, they use it totally interchangeably, some regions a little bit less. I realize that's a difference, but take a look at this. This is gonna hurt some people here. This is actual Google search traffic per month in most, now I gotta do a lot of defining here, please just, I'm not gonna do it here, but within a certain area, generally speaking, most parts of the country will have over 27,000 searches per month for aluminum fence. And look how, man, I'm gonna try it. Oh, I did it. All right, so look how fast that goes down. What if you, and I'm not gonna ask, but if you have a website where you call it ornamental iron on your site, now that may be the way you talk about it in your business, or decorative steel. You may talk about that in your business, but if you have it listed, if it's all keyworded out on your website here, dude, look how much traffic you're losing just because somebody didn't do their keyword research to make sure we're getting the right keywords on the site. That's a big difference, huge difference, all right? So how you do that is on the web page copy, FAQs. You could do this. You could call this thing aluminum fence and then also work all these other keywords into the page, into the same page. You don't have to make separate pages for all this, right? But you can work it within the aluminum fence page. You can, in your FAQs, FAQs is like stealing money. Do you guys also do decorative steel? Yes, as a matter of fact, we do decorative steel. It's a little bit different from aluminum, blah, blah, blah. Like you can work all this stuff into content even though it's on the aluminum fence page. There's ways to do this. All right, phones have changed everything. We call these long tail keyword searches. People pick up the phone and they're like, hey, Google, what type of fence is the best kind of fence for small dogs, right? We would never type that out, but we'll talk that out all day long, right? These are actual, if it's on this list, the minimum number of searches in a month that it showed up in this list was 1,000 searches. So at least 1,000 people each month are searching every one of these kind of weird searches. Some of them are kind of weird. This is the tip of the iceberg, guys. There are thousands of these long tail keywords and search terms, right? And some of these might be relevant to things you do. You could capture this. You're not competing against anybody. There is nobody in your market, unless they work with .com, that is paying attention to this at all, right? You could write a blog article. You could write a simple FAQ about on the aluminum fence page for Christmas decorating ideas for aluminum fence. Just a simple FAQ, you would rank number one. You would get all that traffic because there's nobody else doing that, right? But you need to know how to do this. You gotta know where to find this. Great opportunity, so much traffic out there. It's cool, right? Isn't that cool? That's cool. All right. We're closing in on this thing. Each town, most fence companies that we work with, you're located in one town. That may or may not even be your primary town that you want to sell to. Your primary markets might be a different town that's nearby. Or fine, this is your primary market, but you would love to do work in all the towns around you. If you want to rank for a thing, you have to have a page for that thing and it can't suck, right? So, we're getting there. We're getting there. Can you tell I used to be a high school teacher when I first graduated college? So each town page, if you want to rank for a town, you need a page for that town and it can't suck. It has to be legitimate. These are actual screenshots of the different town pages, for example, that we made for, I can't see who that is, but Jackson Fence. And so these, you can tell, and these are all custom written. This is not duplicate content that's copy and pasted. Google not only doesn't like it, Google will penalize you for simply copy pasting. This is not content that was copied from AI. Google can tell when content was copied from AI. Not only does Google not like it, Google will penalize you if you have too much of it. They'll let some of it go. But so if for those of you, this is another thing, because I know some people do their own website. If you have a habit of going to ChatGPT or wherever you're going, and you're like, give me 3-paragraph blurb about aluminum fence benefits or something like that, and it kicks something out and you just copy and you drop it on your website, not only are you not helping yourself, you're potentially hurting yourself because Google can tell that that was generated by AI and they will penalize you if you use too much AI generated content. That's a big one. So Each town that you want to rank has to have its own page, and it can't suck. It has to be good. All right, so here's your ultimate website blueprint. You got your home page. Your home page is a trust page. You're not trying to sell too much on that. It has to be long. You got to give people a chance to scroll and click and do things so that Google will rank it. Each and every single product and service that you want to rank for needs its own page. Whew, it's a lot of work. That's why I said when I gave you a budget about what it takes to have a good quality website, that's why the budget is high, because it should be a lot of pages and they need to be good quality. Your company and team page is huge. That's outside the scope of this talk right here, but that's important. And then resources. Talk about your warranty, financing, your process. What's it like to work with you? Easy, 1, 2, 3 step process working with us, right? Photo gallery, blog, and then those geo pages, the town pages. This is your ultimate website blueprint about how your site should be organized, all right? And then we could talk about strong headlines, unique copy, trust, all this stuff. Again, I'm trying to give you guys, open your eyes and get you thinking. We could stand here for 3 days talking about the details of all this, but we have a lot of great information on our YouTube channel, in our blog, on our website. Talk to us. We give it away free. Just take it, but I want to make sure you guys are aware that when you do this, your pages won't suck. So how does your website stack up to all of this? And I'm guessing that your website sucks and Google hates you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.